Hi guys, Billy here. Welcome to my channel where I review African literature. For my video today, I am going to be reviewing this children's book. I think it's a very cute cover with all the colors, and it's called Nandi and Nzuri and the Ancient Stones by Mabhena. So Mabhena, she's a Zimbabwean woman who's based here in the UK, and she's working towards working with children in education. So you guys, just to give you a glimpse of what this book is about, I would say this is more of a tween book, so that's like toddlers to children around the age of 10 maybe. And it's a very good book, and I like how there's representation in there. But let me just give you a bit of the book anyway. At the back, when two African girls discover some old stone ruins, their minds take them to a fascinating place, Africa's glorious ancient past. So I'm going to be talking about a few things that I liked about this book and what to look forward to as always, and I hope you enjoy this video. So the book, it starts with Nandi and Nzuri, and they are two best friends who live in a vast land in Africa. It doesn't really specify where, but these two friends, they usually go on adventures they're always together, and their parents know that they're together. So the first thing that I got from this book was to do with friendship, and I think that's something that is very important when it comes to children. I'm sure to those who have kids, they have like best friends who they are with all the time, and this is what I got from when I started reading the book, which is friendship, which is something that is very important. And so Nandi and Nzuri, whenever they go out, they come back and then they tell their parents and everyone in the village what they've seen and what they've done. So on this day, because this book is all happens in one day, they go and then they get to where they apparently, okay, let me slow down. The sun is kind of like what tells them the time. So it's like ancient Africa, right? So Nandi and Nzuri are from like ancient Africa, and then when they get to this place, like a vortex, it kind of sucks them in, and they kind of like tell the sun to direct them. So the vortex, it sucks them into another universe. So this is more to do with Afrofuturism, which I think is very cool, because I think it's something which is now coming more when it comes to African literature, and to have kids at a very young age being introduced to it, I think it's amazing. Okay, I think it actually activates the mind for them to be able to write so many different kind of stories, like Children of Blood and Bone. It's more of a fantasy, but it's kind of like, actually I think someone who writes Afrofuturism, it has to be the one who wrote Akatuwich. Kind of like, it has that kind of vibe, so I think it's very important to have those kind of African books being introduced to children, because it actually activates their minds. I'm so sorry, it's been a weird day, so my mind is kind of glitching, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. And so Nandi and Nzuri, they are sucked into this vortex, and then when they end up appearing in a place where there are different cars, there are buildings, so it's completely different from what they're used to. Just for you guys to get a feel of what exactly you'll be looking forward to. So this is where Nandi and Nzuri, they live. So you can see they're kind of like villages. They still use lamps, there's carving, there's carpentry, that kind of thing. There isn't like any technologies yet. And then when they are sucked into this vortex, they kind of end up in a city where they have flying cars, where they have tall buildings, concrete buildings, and even like the fashion has changed. They're all wearing glasses. So they were very fascinated when they got to that land, and that land is called Mzansi. And if you're familiar with most things, Mzansi are usually associated with South Africa. So they end up being in Mzansi, and they're very fascinated, and they also get to meet a friend. His name is Namibo, and he kind of like shows them around, you know, the city, because you saw that they were kind of lost. And it also solidifies when it comes to friendship. Like, I think children are the easiest to make friends amongst themselves. I think for them it's just flawless. So it was kind of like refreshing to see, you know, they're making friends and then just walking around and, you know, enjoying themselves. So he kind of explains to them that the place where they were, where there was the vortex, they call it Inzaloye Langa, which means the birthplace of the sun. It is a calendar we use that tells us what season we are in during the year and much more. So as much as they come from the Stone Age, I don't want to call it the Stone Age, but they come from a different era, okay? And then also here in the future, they kind of use the same thing to tell the time. I think for them as characters, it was a bit refreshing to know that, you know, they still had something to hold on to, even though they were in a very different environment. And so they go about, and then they make friends, they play and all of that. And then they meet the king and the queen of Mzansi. Here they are. I don't know if you can see them. Here's the king and the queen. And, you know, they welcome them, and then they explain what exactly happens. You know, like, they believe in Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is like being one, is one people. I think this is something which is very popular when it comes to Africa, that we believe in, you know, solidarity and being, you know, helping each other and being one. And it was also something they also practiced like before, not before, but in their land. I think that's how I'm going to best say it, okay? And I think that was very powerful, because it shows that even as time goes, as African people, we still have things that we hold on to, and it's very important. And another thing that I also like is seeing like different African people being portrayed. So as you can see, I've always said this, I think it was when I was doing my first book of Shona in Ndebele, it's very important to have characters which look like our children. So as you can see, they all have different skin tones, which is something that I like, because as Africans, as black people, we all have different skin tones, and it's very important for children to see themselves, you know, being portrayed in literature. It's very encouraging for them to be also writers, and for them to not, you know, only see literature under the white gaze. So I think that was important that, you know, Karen and the illustrators actually saw this as something which was very essential. And also, you know, just it's a very simple read, so you can actually read this as a bedtime story, or it can be something which you can use for your children to learn maybe their words, because it's very simple English. And, you know, I hope there's a series to it, because I can't really say much, because it's not a very big book and it doesn't have, you know, a lot. But that's what happens with children's books anyways. They're quite straightforward, because they have an audience, they have a market. And yeah, I think it's very important. If you have children around that age, I definitely recommend this book. And also it kind of has a bit of Zulu or Ndebele. Yeah, so if you have children who also speak that language, I think it's very important. And yeah, let's get our children into reading African literature. It's very good for them to see themselves being represented, you know, for them to also know that they're capable of being readers, writers, you know, and to aspire and to activate their mind, because Afrofuturism, I think it's pretty cool. I would say that it's very cool, you know, because you're seeing Africa in a different space, and your mind has to be active, your mind has to be creative for you to be able to see all that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this mini video. And I know with children's books, my videos are very short, because they're children's books, they're not very big. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and have an amazing day.